a neighborhood that it's unlikely to be under the radar that much longer. Get downtown in 20 minutes. You could walk over to the golf course, teeing off within 10 minutes from your front door. So the composite has the average at just under 1.1 million versus the average in the city of Toronto that's almost 1.7 million. So you're saving $600,000 on the average. So we're talking about a big announcement. We are going to have a new segment on this channel where I am going to be documenting my own journey. Hey there, people. You are watching episode number 6 of the Under the Radar Real Estate Podcast with your host, Josh Jean-Baptiste, broker with Sage Real Estate and Garrison Collective. On today's show, we're covering 4 quick topics. We are covering the under the radar neighborhood of Weston. Then we're going to jump into family-sized condos, and we have a big announcement at the end of that segment involving yours truly. So definitely keep watching for that. Then we're going to jump into the under the radar real estate tech segment. We're going to be speaking about smart lights. And then to cap things off, just a quick little tidbit on the Bank of Canada rate announcement. It's all over the news. It's on everyone's mind. And I'm just going to kind of give you my opinion on where things stand with that and how it affects the real estate market moving forward. Okay, so let's jump right into things. Let's start with the under the radar neighborhood of Weston. So Weston is a neighborhood in the northwest pocket of the city. Its epicenter is Weston and Lawrence. There's 3 things that kind of make this neighborhood an under the radar neighborhood, in our opinion. The first thing is its historical significance. So Weston was an independent village. So unlike many other neighborhoods in Toronto that were just built as almost suburbs from the original small city, Weston was its own independent village when it was founded way back in the 1800s, and it only became incorporated into the city of Toronto in 1967. So the cool thing with Weston, like I said, unlike some other neighborhoods in the expanded city of Toronto that were once suburbs, this was a thriving village. So the streets are a little bit more narrow, things are more compact. It really gives you that small town feeling in the city. Weston has its own downtown kind of along Weston Road. And the one great thing about this neighborhood is there's tons of massive Victorian era homes on huge lots. And we'll get to that in a minute when we start covering the numbers in the area. And then the second thing that makes this area very much an under the radar neighborhood is its location. So we already spoke about Weston being kind of at the epicenter, the epicenter of Weston being at Lawrence and Weston. When we look at what is in that area in terms of location and accessibility, you have many different ways to get to kind of all corners of the GTA. So number one, if you're a car commuter, you're pretty much right at the Highway 401, and you're also at the highway where the Highway 400 begins, right near Weston. So car commuter, you can easily get to all corners of the GTA from that location really quickly, or I should say relatively quickly. We all know what the Highway 401 and 400 can look like on the best of days. However, they're there. But the real key to this neighborhood is transit. And we're talking mass transit. So you have the Up Express, which you jump on that. It's right in the heart of Weston. For those, if you can kind of see it on my screen right here, I'm zooming in right here on the railway. So you can see right here is the Weston Up Express and Go station. You jump on that, get downtown in 20 minutes, or get to Pearson Airport in 10 minutes. Super convenient. I mean, really, this is what makes Weston very much a neighborhood that will likely, it's unlikely to be under the radar that much longer, especially when we start talking about new development, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, so transit, stellar from this location. Oh, and just down the street in Mount Dennis, there's the brand new Metrolinx LRT station, effectively subway, going to be right there. So you can jump on either the GO train for one stop at Mount Dennis and transfer over to the subway. Or, I mean, if you want to walk it, it's not a crazy long walk. It's probably 15, 20-minute walk down to the Mount Dennis station, or jump on the bike, whatever. Talking about bikes, you also, because you're on the banks of the Humber River, there's a great walking and bike path along the shores of the Humber here, and you can get down to Lakeshore. Sorry, the path goes all the way down to Lakeshore. So if you are an avid cyclist, or if you like to bike to work, you could bike to work in about 40 minutes from Weston if you follow this bike path. There's some quicker routes throughout the city, but I mean, this is probably the most scenic. Again, as you can see here on the screen, you can see the river, and that path goes all the way down to Lakeshore, and then you just go east, and you're smack in the middle of downtown Toronto in about 40 minutes on your bike. So, location, stellar. And then the third thing that makes Weston an under-the-radar neighborhood is that it's diversity, and it's very authentic. And so, I mean, if you ever visited Weston, it's just a melting pot of different cultures. Due to the way it's constructed from a housing perspective, you have a lot of old Victorian homes, but you also have a lot of condos and apartment buildings, so it creates this very eclectic mix of residents in Weston. And the key, I mean, one of the cool things with that diversity is that it also has a different feel. Like, again, when we get back to the original historical significance of Weston, because it was a village, it still retains a lot of that kind of small community feeling once you're in Weston. Even though you're in a large city, it almost has its own little bubble where it kind of feels like a small town, especially with the parks. And I mean, there's a golf course in Weston, which is amazing. So, I mean, you could be living in Weston and you could walk over to the golf course, or, I mean, if the city allowed it, you could jump on a golf cart and you could be teeing off within 10 minutes from your front door, which is pretty cool. So with all of that, the location, the historical significance, and the diversity, the other key point to Weston, I guess we have 4 points, is that it's going to be going through a massive amount of development and redevelopment. There are so last time we've compiled the numbers, 11,422, and that number's probably a little bit higher now, because this was from February. We need to update the spreadsheet. I don't think there was too many more new developments that were announced since then, but back in February, 11,422 new units planned for the neighborhood at various levels of development or construction. Some of those buildings are completing right now. The Humber is about to complete. I mean, it's completed. It's about to register. I think it's occupying right now. It's about to register fairly soon. And there's a few other developments at different stages of development. We are trying to get into the Humber. Hopefully we'll have a suite tour for you coming at the end of the month, so watch out for that. But another development that we're super excited in is Weston Park. So you can see right here on the screen, beautiful architecture. This is located, again, right at the epicenter of Weston, at Weston and Lawrence. So it's going to be 2 towers. It's effectively going to be connected. I mean, I don't think officially, but it's built pretty much right on top of the Weston Up Express and GO station. So you can be in your building, walk out of your, I guess, back door of the building, and you'll be at the GO station, at the Up Express station in seconds. So super convenient for this building. There's also a new community center going into the building, and I believe it is supposed to launch this year. We'll see what happens with that. I mean, new development right now, with the rate increases and all this stuff kind of going on in the macro market, we'll see when this launches. But I am super, super, super excited. I don't know how many more times I can say super about this project. It is what I feel is going to completely transform people's views and opinions on the neighborhood, and it's really going to be that jewel in the center of Weston. So that's what makes Weston an under-the-radar neighborhood. We're going to have a neighborhood tour coming up for the area at the end of the month. But let's jump into the numbers right now. This is a real estate podcast. You're probably waiting for that. So let's jump into the numbers. Let's pull them up right here. So Weston And these numbers are powered by Your Castle. Your Castle is a proprietary service done by my brokerage, Sage Real Estate. If you're interested in having access to this, I use it all the time to pull up my neighborhood reports, to do home valuations. If you're interested in having access to this, just send us an email and we can get you hooked up onto Your Castle so you can see these same neighborhood reports that I'm pulling right now. And the cool thing is, it actually has a home valuation tool that's better than pretty much most of the other ones on the market. Because not only does the AI pull the valuation for your house monthly, it does it automatically. Yours truly, or any other Sage agent, goes in and it verifies that the numbers that the AI pulled are accurate. Most of the time they are, but we'll check it out. So let's jump into things. All right, so detached houses, average selling price in Weston right now is 1.22 million. That was 5 listings that sold, and these numbers are from June. 5 listings sold in June. The listing sold for about 103% of the asking price. So numbers were quite a little elevated in the neighborhood in June. However, that's likely to change if you watched our market update. We kind of gave our opinion on where we think the market is heading. Days on market 12, sales to new listings ratio was 50%. It's pretty much a balanced market. That means 50% of the new listings that hit the market sold. So we kind of see that as fairly balanced and not super competitive, which is also nice with the under the radar neighborhoods. You don't have the same level of competition that you would face in many of the other trendy neighborhoods in the GTA or in downtown Toronto. One key thing is that when we look at the detached houses that were sold, if you look at the lot sizes, they are huge. I mean, we're looking at frontages of, the smallest one was 30 feet. All the way up to 50-foot frontages. So these are almost suburban-sized lots, but in the city. You're not having to drive 2 to 3 hours outside of the city to get a 50 by 120 lot or a 47 by 135-foot lot. This is in the city. From these houses, you're jumping on the Up Express and you're downtown in 20 minutes. You can't beat that. So when we look at the composite numbers are more of a smoothed out average stat. So if you look at the price versus the city of Toronto, so I'll zoom in here so you can kind of see it. So the composite has the average at just under 1.1 million at $1,067,440 versus the average in the city of Toronto that's almost 1.7 million. So you're saving $600,000 on the average detached house versus the overall average in the city of Toronto, which is a massive savings. And not only that, we talked about the suburbs and the 1 to 2 to 3 hour commute versus the suburbs. It's still $100,000 less to buy in Weston, and you're not sacrificing on lot size or home size to buy in Weston. I mean, for me, it's plain to see. That you can buy in Weston, get a large house, and still save over the overall average from the suburbs. So you don't need to move 2 hours away. You can move to Weston and get, in my opinion, sometimes better built homes, because these are Victorian built era homes in Weston for a massive savings over suburbs, or massive savings over the overall city of Toronto. So when we now jump into semi-detached houses, there aren't as many semi-detached houses in Weston. We'll still take a look at the numbers. The average selling price, $944,500. There's only 2 listings that sold. They sold for 114% of asking. Some of that is also just due to marketing. Agents underlist properties purposefully to create a bidding war, and also just to kind of let the market dictate what the price is, right? So generally, a lot of the sale prices you see online are artificially low and they get bid up. They sold in only 4 days, the 2 semis that did sell. So things got snapped up quickly, and it was a 0% sales to listings ratio because there's only 2 sales and 2 listings. So yeah, we can see here the 2 sales. Again, when we look at the composite, which is kind of the smoothed out average, when we look at here, the smoothed out average over the course of the year, about 817,417 versus the overall average in the city of Toronto, which was 1.253 million. So another massive gap. And the dark gray line there that you see, the average of $1 million, it's still a $200,000 savings in Weston versus even the suburbs. Again, Weston, in the city of Toronto, you have a 416 address, an M postal code, and you're saving $200,000 over the suburbs to buy a semi. Man, if you're watching this podcast and you're blown away, call me now. We can set up a search for you in Weston and we can get you into Weston. It's a great way to beat the rate increase. If you're saving $200,000 on a home and a 20-minute commute downtown from 2 months ago, 0.5% increase in your mortgage rates, Weston is a good inflation and rate beater, that's for sure. And then we look at condos. Average price $642,450. Those 4 listings sold for almost 100% of the ask price. Days on market 65. That's just the condo market right now. I mean, also things in Weston move a little bit slower than downtown. I think downtown we were closer to 30 days on market, so double the amount of days on market. There's just less demand in Weston right now. That will change. You can quote me on that. Watch this back in 2 years and you're going to know that Josh was right. See. But sales and listing 40%, so not a lot of competition for listings there, as you can see. So when we look at what has sold, 2 of the units were new construction. 10 will be Crescent is the Humber. It's the new development that's just about to close soon. And then we had Hickory Tree Road. I know that building very well. We've had listings, we've had clients buy in there. And then we had 2130 Weston Road that had sold. Now, the key thing to look at here, I'm going to zoom in on screen. Hopefully you can see it. Very, very large units being sold in Weston. In our next segment of the podcast, we're going to get into family-sized condos. Weston is a neighborhood definitely worth keeping an eye on because you're getting very, very large condos for pretty good prices. I mean, if we look at Hickory Tree Road, you're getting a unit over 1,000 square feet for $540,000. Yes, you read that right, $540,000. That is $540 a square foot versus the city of Toronto. If you go downtown, I mean, you're hard pressed to find anything under $1,500 a square foot. I mean, yeah. So let's look at the composite average. So the composite is a little tighter than freehold homes, right? So the average in the city of Toronto is almost $750,000 versus $678,000. But as we just saw there, the homes that are being sold in Weston, the condos being sold in Weston are quite a bit larger than your average downtown Toronto condo. So while there's only about about an $80,000 delta, you're getting probably 200 to 300 more square feet in Weston than elsewhere in the city of Toronto. Same thing when it comes to the suburbs. Most of the condo product in the suburbs is a lot newer than what you'd find in Weston on average. So again, in the suburbs, maybe slightly larger than the overall average in downtown Toronto. But from what I've seen selling in the suburbs at almost $700,000, they're generally 700 to 800 square foot condos. Again, whereas in Weston, we're averaging much closer to about 900 square feet for just under $680,000. So lastly, we'll touch on condo townhouses. Condo townhouses, there's a lot of product in the neighborhood. So unlike some other under the radar neighborhoods, Weston has a very diverse mix of housing. So you can pretty much get anything you want. You want detached house, semi, townhouse, condo townhouse, they've got them all. So again, you don't have to kind of pick and choose what house type you want. We've got it all in Weston. So the average selling price, $655,000 for a townhouse. That's wild. 3 listings sold, 101% selling to list price. Only 9 days on market for a condo townhouse. People are starting to, I think, catch on to Weston a little bit. Sales to the listing, 50%, so fairly balanced. Again, we look at the prices and the size of the townhouses being sold, and it is just wild. We're looking at 3-bedroom condo townhouses with outdoor space. A lot of these ones have balconies or terraces. Over 1,000 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 washrooms for under $700,000. That is wild, man. $665,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or $620,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in the city. 20-minute commute downtown. You have a massive park, a linear park that goes along the Humber, green spaces, basketball courts, community center, hockey rink there. You got a skate park in Weston. You have the golf course, like I mentioned. 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms for about $600,000 in the city, 416 M postal code. Man, my brain might explode. This is crazy. And now, again, when we look at the composite, $858,000 for the city of Toronto versus Weston, which is $669,000. It's almost $200,000 less. And you're getting a ton of square footage. Whew. All right. So, I mean, I knew these numbers, and still looking at them again, it is shocking how much of a savings you're getting in Weston versus not only the city of Toronto, versus the suburbs. And it's an up-and-coming area, tons of development, 11,000 new homes being planned there. I mean, if it's not plain to you guys watching right now that Weston is the place to buy right now, I mean, it's plain to me. Call, email us. We'd be more than happy to chat. If you even want to just take a tour around Weston, check out a few properties, hit us up. Even if you're not in the market right now, if you're planning on buying 2-3 years from now, hit us up, because Weston is where it's at. And I mean, I don't think you have to necessarily rush to buy right now. However, there's probably a pretty good buying opportunity in Weston right now. Certainly worth keeping an eye on. We have clients kind of monitoring the area. So again, reach out. You don't have to be buying right now, but we can even hook you up if you haven't been pre-approved or anything. We have some great mortgage brokers. Hit us up. You need to be looking at Weston right now. You will, I mean, this is not financial advice, but there's a very good chance that this is a really good investment opportunity that you need to take advantage of right now. So let's jump into our second topic. We are going to get into family-sized condos. So family-sized condos, I mean, it's kind of a controversial topic. I don't know why, but I mean, in the city, I guess in society, sorry, I'm just going to pull up my notes right here. When we look at how family life is portrayed in the media and in society, generally once you have a baby, there's pressure on people to get into a 2, 3, 4, 5-bedroom house with the driveway, with the white picket fence, with the pool in the backyard, with the dog and all that kind of stuff. And it's, I mean, hey, that's the dream for most people. Most people, once they have kids, they feel that pressure that they have to get into a house right away. Even if it necessarily, owning a house isn't the lifestyle for everybody, but I mean, people feel the pressure of having to do that, especially in large cities where, I mean, typically the school districts with single family detached homes tend to be better. I'm not going to get into the whole school debate because, I mean, some of those rankings and stuff like that don't make a lot of sense because it takes into account sometimes like people's income and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, let's not get into that. But yeah, generally the pressure for most young families is to get into a house. So what do most people do? So because most middle class North Americans, because buying in the kind of trendy neighborhoods in the downtown cores of most major cities is practically impossible for most middle class. I mean, especially right now with the millennials really getting into nesting mode, having kids, getting married, it's just not feasible, right? When we look at the average price of a house in downtown Toronto, for example, you're damn near $2 million in most downtown neighborhoods, most of the trendy areas. And if you look at most cities across North America, it's the same thing, right? If you want to be in the kind of the trendy neighborhoods in the city, you're looking into the several millions of dollars. So it doesn't work. So what does a family do? So then your next thought or option is to move to the suburbs. Yeah, the suburbs were great 20, 30 years ago when your average commute from most of the suburbs into the downtown core 20, 30 years ago was maybe 25, 35, 45 minutes. Some people my parents' generation who, let's say, lived in Barrie and worked downtown Toronto, said 45 minutes to an hour and they're at work. That doesn't happen today. I mean, if you lived in Barrie, I mean, most people who live in Barrie that work downtown Toronto can probably attest to this. On the best of days, it's a 90-minute commute, especially when it comes to traffic, or if there's accidents, or if there's snow, or if there's rain, or if there's a cloud in the sky. You're looking at a 90-minute commute to downtown Toronto. So all this to say is that there's all this pressure to buy a house, and it's not necessarily the lifestyle for everybody. A house. So if we look at condo life for a family, a lot of people will pull up all of the cons, right? So what are some of the cons to living in a condo with a young family? So I mean, size. So yeah, you're not going to get necessarily all of the square footage of a house. Now, I mean, a lot of houses, they include either basement or hallway space when they factor in square footage, or staircases. So if you deduct a lot of that square footage, I mean, the size delta usually isn't that large. However, you get the division of space, usually multiple floors. Privacy and noise, right? I mean, if you're looking at a detached house on a large lot, sure, you're getting that. Now, the whole privacy and noise thing, when you get to the suburbs, the way the suburbs are built, at least in the greater Toronto area, I don't know if you're getting that much privacy. But I mean, at least, yeah, you don't share a hallway, I guess, with your neighbors, and you have maybe a foot of grass between your neighbor's house that gives you a little bit of privacy, and then maybe a fence in your backyard. Outdoor space. I mean, unless you're getting a condo townhouse, then some of them may have backyards. For the most part, mostly all you're getting with a condo is a balcony or a small terrace if you're lucky. You also have condo rules with condos, right? That's one of the cons. I mean, you'll have noise rules, pet rules, occupants per suite, especially getting to co-ops. They may restrict the amount of people you're allowed to have in a co-op. Resale value, I mean, historically, houses have done better in terms of percentage of increase. Now, that has been the truth historically. I think moving forward, larger family-sized condos will start gaining steam. I remember back in, I think it was 2014, 2015. Shout out my old mentor, Brandon Ware. When I was on the Ware in Toronto real estate team, Brandon and I used to make videos talking about 2-bedroom condos. And I remember way back in those days, 2-bedroom condos, you could snap up a 1,000 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in King West for under $600,000. And we would be prophesizing and we were evangelists for 2-bedroom condos back then, because we saw the value. $600,000 for 2-bedroom, 2-bath in King West. It's a great house alternative. You're 20-minute walk into downtown Toronto. And I mean, a lot of that noise just kind of fell on deaf ears. I look in King West now. I mean, this was like 9 years later. I mean, those 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condos that we're talking about that were $600,000 are now going for like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 million. If you had bought a condo then, you made a pretty decent return today. So, and now, especially with the condo market kind of going through some tough times, yeah, resale value historically has been better for houses. I think that'll change. And now that brings me into the pros. So we talked about the cons and all the negatives, and that's what society tells us that is bad about living in a family-sized condo. But what are the pros? What are the benefits to a family-sized condo? Number one thing is price. Price is significantly less. I mean, we just looked at Weston. We saw the difference between a detached house and a condo. A lot of times it can be 50% less to buy a family-sized condo versus a house. We look at the overall average in the city of Toronto, for example. I mean, the average condo goes for just over $770,000 versus a detached house is $1.78 million. So there's $1 million delta between condos and houses. Now, those condos at $770,000 are generally 1-bedrooms. But if we were to look at, sorry, I'm pulling it up on the map right here. So if we look at, I just kind of pulled up a radius of the city of Toronto from Bloor West to, let's say, the tip of the beaches and all the way up, let's say, into the 401. There are 158 what we could call family-sized condos. So let's look at the criteria right now. I did $0 to $1 million. 3 to 5 bedrooms, 2 to 5 bathrooms. And that pulls up, 158 condos currently on the market. So when we then look at what's available, I mean, you can see a ton of options in tons of different neighborhoods. And the pricing, I mean, upwards of $1 million. There's a ton of options of family-sized condos. These are 3 to 5 bedrooms. So, I mean, 3 to 5, some of them might be den, but still, versus detached houses, you'll be hard-pressed to find a detached house in the city of Toronto under $1 million. I mean, there's some in the under-rated neighborhoods, so again, reach out to us and we can find you one. But if you are looking to be closer to downtown Toronto, or if you want to be in downtown Toronto, there are a plethora of options of 3-bedroom condos under $1 million that you can get today, like right now. Call us, we can show you some of these right now. So some of the other pros to condo life for a family: maintenance. You pay a maintenance fee for a reason. So you're not shoveling snow, you're not cutting the grass, you're not doing all the other random house things that you have to do with a house. It's constant maintenance. It's honestly like having a baby. I lived in a condo, live in a house now. Special announcement coming at the end of this segment. Keep an eye out, but we are likely moving back to a condo. Convenience. Because condos are generally built on main avenues in kind of high traffic areas, you are close to everything. The nice thing with condo life is that when you need to do groceries, you're not always having to jump in the car, driving to Costco, driving to the Mega Mart, getting $900 worth of groceries. That seems like a lot, but I have 2 teenage boys and my 10-year-old's already 5'9". They eat, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. That's another podcast. But convenience. So everything's at your fingertips, whether it be groceries or shopping or even just like coffee, your barber, anything you need because the condo is generally built on the avenue, everything's right at your fingertips. So you don't need to be doing massive shopping runs. Everything is generally within a 5 to 10 minute walk. So you're so convenient, especially if you look at the condos downtown, you're also close to work. You can do your groceries on your way home and be home and do all that stuff within a 30-minute commute from work to home. Do your groceries on the way home and you're done. Lifestyle. Again, because you're not having to do the other maintenance things, because it doesn't take you 2 hours to do your groceries, because it doesn't take you an hour to do school pickup, because it doesn't take you... We have so little time nowadays, it feels. I go through it. I wake up and I blink and all of a sudden it's 11 p.m. and I'm like, where the hell did the day go? Because I was doing so many other things. Condos, because you don't have to, you're paying a maintenance fee, you don't have to do all those other things, you have more time. So you can enjoy a better lifestyle. Because the price point is lower, you may have more money to take trips. I'm not talking about even extravagant trips. You have more time to just jump in the car and head to Niagara-on-the-Lake, go to wine tasting, or jump up to cottage country at a moment's notice. Not having to think about, oh, God, damn, I have to cut the grass this weekend. Or in the winter, being like, I want to go to Nassau for 2 nights. And you don't have to think, oh man, if there's a snowstorm, who's going to shovel my driveway? I need to shovel my sidewalk, or I get a nice $90 ticket from the city, and also you're an a-hole if you don't shovel the sidewalk. I lived in a neighborhood with a lot of elderly people, so when I was shoveling snow, I was generally shoveling 5 to 6 sidewalks, including my own. Again, just because obviously, nice person. I don't want to have some of my elderly neighbors throw their back in a snowstorm. But again, time, right? It's a lot of time shoveling snow, maintenance, all that kind of stuff. Safety. The nice thing is living in a condo, especially the buildings that have a 24-hour concierge, is that especially when I have older kids now. There's a little bit of added comfort when I know when they leave, when they get off the streetcar stop is only a couple meters from where our likely new home is going to be. It's nice that once they fob into the building, there's someone there, right? So if they feel like unsafe for whatever reason, you have that extra added layer of security with a concierge, for example. And not only that, living in a building with a whole bunch of neighbors with a whole bunch of doors in a hallway, there's extra eyes and ears around for just feeling that extra bit of level of comfort and safety. And I mean, you have kind of that, again, when you're talking about safety and extra eyes, you also have community living, right? So there's been many buildings, especially when my boys were younger, we lived in condos where they'd be friends with some of the neighbors. I remember we lived on College Street. We had a little neighbor that was around the same age as both of my boys, and they used to hang out and play Duplo and Lego and that kind of stuff. So you also have sense of community in some areas as well with your neighbors and so on and so forth. But I mean, because people are so busy, sometimes you don't even interact with your neighbors as much when they don't live in the same hallway as you. You feel sometimes a little bit more connected. So what do you want to look for in a family-sized condo then? So if some of the pros outweigh the cons for you, and some of the stuff we've already talked about, what should you look for in a family-sized condo? Well, location, number one. Because you're living in a condo and you're sacrificing a few of some of the pros of a house. So you want to live in a very convenient location. You want to be close to schools, parks, retail. You want to look for building amenities. And most people think right away, okay, well, we only have to look at kid amenities, buildings that have a playroom and all that kind of stuff. One under the radar thing that I like to talk about is you also want to look for adult amenities. There's a lot of buildings now coming up with things like wine cellars and dog runs and gyms and all this kind of stuff. Because while the kid-friendly amenities are definitely nice to have with kids, most of our kids are programmed. I mean, my boys play basketball, so we're always in gyms and all this kind of stuff. So sometimes even the kid amenities kind of fall away. Although having a pool and some of the kid amenities are great. Also think about the adult amenities, right? So if you have older kids and they're self-sufficient, they can be playing PS5. And if the building has like a wine cellar, for example, you and your partner can go to the wine cellar and have a drink while your kids are playing video games in the suite, or head to the gym once everyone's asleep and you want to go work out. You can do that. So also look for those amenities, because those are also very helpful to have, right? So think about, I try to stay healthy and I like to work out. I kind of have a bit of a gym in my basement, but it'll be nice having a full-size gym in a building where I can just run downstairs and not have to worry about babysitters and all that kind of stuff. I can have my youngest with me. He can be on his iPad in the gym, just hanging out, watching things, or even if he wants to participate in some of the gym activities, he can do that as well. So building in amenities, big thing. Building size. Most families, I mean, if you're looking for kind of like a slightly nicer lifestyle, you'll probably want to look for like mid to low rise buildings in many cases. Tend to build a bit more of a sense of community. There's generally less tenanted units in smaller buildings, more owners. Transit, big one. Now, most buildings are built on avenues, but the closer you can be to some of the nodes, some of the big stations, subway stations, GO train stations, up express stations, the better. And then future development. You also just kind of want to get an eye on like what's coming, what's going to be built. If you're buying a suite, is there going to be another massive building getting built right next door? It's going to impede your view or create noise or environmental things like dust and stuff like that. So you want to keep an eye out for that. Now, a good real estate agent will look for all those things and take all those things into account when they're helping you out. So reach out to us. We are great with family-sized condos. We believe in family-sized condos. So if that's something you are looking for, certainly hit us up and we can help you find one of those. So let's now jump into our third segment, which is real estate tech. So we're going to be talking about smart lights really quickly. So what we've seen smart lights, you've been to Best Buy, you go to Costco, you go to IKEA, you go to some of these places and you see smart lighting and you're like, okay, that's cool. Most people just kind of don't think about it, or they buy one and they don't download the app and they have it and whatever, they don't use it. But it is a very, very under the radar item that I think most people should have in their homes. I have tons of smart lights all over my home. And most people are like, well, why do I need it? It's just another gadget that I won't use. Let's quickly run down some of the reasons why smart lights are great. Number one is convenience. Imagine, and I've been in this scenario, sitting on your couch and you're about to watch a movie and a light down the hall is on when you want it nice and dark. You might already be cozy with your popcorn and a beverage in hand, and you don't want to get up because you want to be lazy. It's Friday night or a Saturday night. You've done a whole bunch of stuff and you're like, you just sat down. You're like, oh, I gotta get up and turn that light off. Well, if you have an app on your phone, and I have done this, I've turned off that light from a distance because I didn't have to get up. Now, there's a lot of other things. You could be, let's say you just left the house, you're going to work or you're going on vacation. You're like, oh, did I turn all the lights off? Go into the app, you can see, oh, no, I didn't, or maybe I did. Let me turn that light off. Your 15-year-old kid doesn't know how to turn lights off in the house. Speaking from personal experience, Marcus, if you're watching this, this goes out to you. Leaves the bathroom light on or the bathroom fan on all the time. You can turn it off remotely. You don't have to get up and yell at them to go turn the lights off. I mean, they do have two legs. Most of the time you should do that. But again, if you just don't want the light on, you're trying to sleep, flip it off. And number 2 is safety. Again, when you're coming and going from work, all this kind of stuff, safety, it's a big thing, especially when you're living in a city. It's easy to kind of have the lights on a schedule to at least make it look like someone's home when you're not home. The lights can go on and off at different times. Now there's even a lot of programs, and I had it on my phone, where the lights would go on at random times in the evening. So it wouldn't necessarily be a standard time. So that way, if there was nefarious people in the neighborhood watching your house, seeing when the lights go on or off and kind of monitoring it, there wouldn't be a set schedule, right? So it would look like the lights are coming on and off at different times, which kind of creates a bit more of a safe environment. So a person maybe perhaps keep an eye on your home, or like, well, that person looks like they're home. I'm not going to try and go grab their whatever's in there that they may have their eyes on. Number 3 is energy efficiency. Again, leaving the lights on, all this kind of stuff can eat away at those electricity bills. And we all know electricity prices keep going up every year. So generally, if you can kind of keep the lights either on a schedule of turning off, or if a light was on and you can flip it off from a distance, definitely save money, save energy. And not only that, a lot of the smart lights now are LED, and LEDs take barely no energy. So another something to think about. The number 4 thing is ambiance. So the cool thing with a lot of these smart lights, especially the LEDs, is you can change the color or the hue or the tone of the light, which is really cool. You can't do that with a standard bulb. So a lot of the new things, you can kind of create a different ambiance with strategically placed lights. Integration with your smart ecosystem. A lot of these lights are part of either the Google or the Apple or the IKEA ecosystem. So the cool thing is you can kind of set things up. If you have a security system already set up in your house, the security system can turn the lights on and off. If you have a home theater set up, you can say, okay, home theater mode. It'll turn all the lights, let's say, to a dark, deep purple hue, very low tone, so you kind of still have some lighting, but you have that nice ambiance. You can set up all these different things. Really, really cool. And then the last item, number 6, is home value. If you have an amazing smart lighting setup, it can be a very good feature for you selling your property eventually, because you've already gone through all the hard work of setting up all the lights in strategic places and have all these cool scenes set up and all this kind of. It's certainly a good selling point when you need to sell that house some point down the road. So now let's just jump into our last topic. We talk about this almost every month now, and it's always doom and gloom. Let's just talk about it really quickly. The Bank of Canada raised its policy rate by 25 basis points yet again. Continues quantitative tightening. So what does that mean? Well, over the course of the pandemic, when they had the quantitative easing and they kept lowering rates and they kept printing money, now we are paying the price for the pandemic spending. And they have to tighten and they have to keep raising rates. They have to keep attacking the demand side of consumerism to reduce demand to bring inflation down. Or so that's what the Bank of Canada says. And I mean, it does make sense. I mean, yeah, you overspent during the pandemic and you have to rein in that spending now going forward. I understand it. It makes sense. Now, from a real estate perspective, I understand there is likely too much demand in the market, and we need to try to get rid of some of that demand so that house prices don't keep shooting up to the moon, because people still need to buy homes, whether it be houses or family-sized condos that we talked about earlier in the show. So they have to attack the demand side. Now, this is brutal for current homeowners, especially those on variable rates or those looking to renew their mortgages soon. A lot of people will see their payments double from where they were at before. So, and when we look at the CPI, if you watch my market update, I had a cool little graphic about that. When we look at CPI, it's just over 3%, but 1% of CPI is housing costs. So, if the Bank of Canada wants CPI around 2%, housing costs are contributing 1% to that CPI. So really true inflation, true inflation, we are probably pretty close to that target. So I almost just feel like this is kind of the last nail, the last kind of kick to really get everything down. So that way, hopefully by fall or early next year, we're in a zone. Hopefully by this fall, actually, they actually pause and we don't see another rate raise in September. But hopefully then that means by next year, we can go back into easing a little bit and hopefully some rate deceleration next year, so we can kind of get things back in line, because we're really right now just hurting middle class Canadians, people paying variable rate mortgages, people looking to renew. This is not good news for them. And yeah, we can say, oh, you shouldn't have over leveraged yourself and pushed and all this kind of stuff. Yes, shoulda, woulda, coulda. However, it was the Bank of Canada themselves who said it, and the words came out of their mouth that they wouldn't be raising interest rates. They were cutting them and wouldn't be raising them. So people listened to the professionals, listened to the officials that are supposed to be looking out for the best interest, and heard them say, we are not going to raise interest rates. And then they went ahead and raised interest rates. So what does that teach us? I don't trust government. Anyway, well, that's a comment for another day. Where do I see this heading? We're still in a housing crisis. There's still not enough supply to satiate the demand. This might hurt demand for a little bit, but people still need to move and live somewhere. Rental rates are still going up. Builders are having a tough time building because lending costs are too high. The Bank of Canada needs to figure something out soon, and it can't always be just raising interest rates. So that's my rant on the Bank of Canada, the policy rate decision. And I don't want to end this podcast on a low note. So we're talking about a big announcement. So if we head back to the family size condos, our big announcement, we are going to have a new segment on this channel where I am going to be documenting my own journey from a house to a condo. We're a family of 4 with a dog. We live in a house in the city, and we are downsizing to a condo. There's many reasons why we're doing this. We're staying in an under-the-radar neighborhood. So I'm not going to get into too much because I don't want to give away too much. That first episode should likely be dropping in August. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to be documenting our lives. You're going to have a little bit of a look into who I am, why we're moving back into a condo, why we're selling our 2,800 square foot house and likely buying something about 1,200 square feet, and get into all that. So that's the big announcement, ending the podcast on a positive note. So we would love to be your real estate resource of choice, number one. So hit us up if you're interested in any of the topics we talked about. Hit us up if you're interested in looking at buying, selling, renting in under the radar neighborhoods or anywhere in the city of Toronto. Certainly hit us up. We'd be more than happy to help you out. Even if you're not looking to buy right now, if you just want to browse, if you just want information, if you just want an opinion of value, anything real estate related, hit us up. More than happy to chat. Hit us up with the Calendly link. Haven't had too many people book there. Don't be afraid. Book it. If you want to book a call just to chat about anything, if you want to rant about Bank of Canada, rant about house prices, call us. We're more than happy to chat. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. If you like what you're seeing, keep liking, keep commenting, subscribe, tell your friends about us. This is Josh. This has been episode number 6 of the Under the Radar Real Estate Podcast. Peace out.